Hi, this is the face of a very tired broker today. It's Friday, it's about 4:45, and for the last 3 hours, I have been with an agent and a buyer. And let me tell you this little story. I'm gonna wait for a couple of you to log in. But this is the face of a broker and an agent and a buyer that just dodged a major bullet. And by a major bullet, I'm going to tell you a $62,000 bullet. Okay? Imagine that you had $62,000 and you were going to buy a house, and you show up at the closing table and realize that your $62,000 went to a fraudulent hacker. No house, no $62,000, no refunds, no recourse, nothing. This is why it's very, 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 very important that you listen to this message, because apparently, as much as we talk about it as in our industry, as many times as we do the disclosure that says wire fraud prevention, always call to confirm the account, no matter how many times you say that, apparently we don't say it enough. So I want you as my friends to listen very carefully about wire fraud. Realtors, listen very carefully. Operate with the assumption that your account has already been hacked. Change your password regularly. Change your business practices. Change your communication levels, because you are a participant in the activity. You have to be more responsible. You have to communicate it more. You have to say it more. You have to talk about it more. You have to drill home to your customers all the time and assume that they're not going to listen to you, that they're not going to pay any attention to you, and that as soon as their $62,000 are gone, they're going to believe you. Okay? This is huge. Your emails are being hacked. Your emails are being spoofed. Hackers are watching your transactions. They're waiting for closings to happen. And then they're emailing the customer and giving them the wrong, their wire instructions to their account, to probably a similar bank as the title company. Because I promise you, they're not just getting into your email address. They're getting to all the other realtors' email addresses. So they know what banks the title companies work with. SunTrust, Bank of America, they know it. Here's what happened today. I get a text from my agent. It says, "Can you talk?" Of course. I call her right away. She's in a puddle of tears at the closing table. Tears. Her buyer had wired $62,000 to the wire instructions that had been emailed to her last week. She wired it on Tuesday. So mind you, it's been 3 days now. 3 full days, $62,000 sitting in a fraudulent account. She regurgitated back the information as she's sitting there at the closing table. "Oh, I was so careful. I only sent them to the wire instructions that I received in my email address." Title agent looked at the email. "That's not my email address. It's off by 1 letter." Right? So of course, everybody falls very stiff, very silent. And the title agent goes to her computer to check to see if the wire had gone through. No wire. $62,000 gone. Right? And we have it in our disclosure. We have it in our email signatures. We talk about it. The agent had actually flagged information last week. She received an email from the listing agent, and the listing agent in the email had asked for the buyer's email address. "Can I please have the buyer's email address?" Well, of course, the selling agent's like, "No, you can't have my buyer's email address. We don't give out that information, and that's a red flag." So she sent her back an email address or email and said, "I think that your account's been hacked." Well, it had been hacked, and the hackers deleted the email. But the agent was smart and picked up the phone and called the listing agent. This is why it's important to communicate with each other. Called the listing agent. "Hey, I think your email's been hacked. Will you check and see if you just received the email that I sent you?" "Nope, didn't receive an email." "Okay, well, your email's been hacked. So we can't communicate via email anymore. You need to change your password. We need to stop communicating via email, and we have to change the way that we're doing this transaction. We have to communicate by phone." She called the buyer and said, All of our emails are compromised. You may not receive an email from me. Nothing that I send you right now can be counted. Nothing that's the listing agent, no information can be counted on. You have to call to verify the wire instructions when you receive them from whomever's going to receive them, whether it be the title company or the lender. You must call and verify that this is the correct account. Well, the buyer went to the bank, had received an email, and she actually replied to the email and said, "Are you sure this is the right one? Because, you know, it could be fraud." She replied. She was emailing back and forth. Well, she was emailing back and forth with the hacker. When she went to the bank, she didn't call to verify, which is natural because in her mind, she had thought that she had confirmed with the appropriate parties. So it wasn't until she got to the closing table and they were talking about this that they realized that the buyer had emailed the wire to the wrong account. Now, I'm telling you, we are an office that takes every precaution. We had an agent that saw the red flags, raised the red flags. Everybody's informed, right? Everybody was informed that we knew that we were compromised. Everybody. And it still wasn't enough. So we need to do more to address the consumers that are out there. Do not send a wire unless you have confirmed. I tell my buyers, walk in the title company, get them to print out a sheet. Do not trust any email that you receive. Even if you think it's encrypted, it can look encrypted and it's not really encrypted. Okay? Call to verify. This is super, super, super important. Call the title company, the rep that you have been dealing with from day one, not a new phone number. From day one, is this the proper account number that I should send my wire to? Now, thank God we all went into immediate action. The buyer went to her bank and they were able to go back and look to see where the money was, where it went. And they could see that the money was still there. Even 3 days later, we got so incredibly lucky. The money was still there. Okay. Her original amount, $62,000 and change, still in the other account. They could see it was held. So they went over to the other bank. In the meantime, we're all making frantic phone calls to the powers that be all around town to see what we could do to stop the transfer. So she went over to the other bank. We called the FBI, which, by the way, sent us to a website to file a report. Just going to throw that out there. City police were called. They were able to come in and also talk. Luckily, we got a branch manager to freeze the account, or at least the funds that were in question. And the fraud department is now going back and investigating and making sure that we can reset or send the money back to the originator. So the money is held. But this is a face of a company owner that just dodged a $62,000 bullet. Okay, do you see this? This is stress right here, and I can't wait to get home and have a glass of wine. But I need you to understand that this is a very real problem, and it can happen to you. Okay, whether you're a buyer or a seller or an agent, you are all very vulnerable. And I don't mean to yell and scream, but now you have to listen because it could be you. So if you are selling a house, don't think that you are immune to this, because if you're receiving funds, your proceeds, guess where they can go? To somebody else's account. So if you want your funds sent to your bank via a wire, take your account information in personally to the title company and say, I will never change my account. This is the only place you may send it. Okay. Provide that information. If you are a buyer getting ready to close on a house, do not send money unless you pick up the phone and talk directly to the title company themselves and verify any information that you have received online. Verify the specific account numbers. Repeat it 10 times if you have to. Do not send your money until you have verified while you are at the bank. If you are a realtor, let me repeat, assume your account has been hacked. Operate accordingly. Change your passwords regularly. Spread the message to all of your customers that you will never send or receive wire instructions via email. If you are a title company or a title rep, please never send a personal check as a receipt for escrow, because I still get those and it drives me insane. Why would you expose a consumer's account information via email? Our accounts are being hacked. Realtors, do better. Communicate louder. Be more vocal about it. This is a huge issue. We're lucky. We are so incredibly lucky that that money was still there. So lucky. It could have been gone. I can't believe it sat in that account for 3 days. This was a public service message brought to you by a very grateful broker owner. Anyway, happy Friday. I'm going to wrap up my work now and go have a glass of wine. Thank you all for listening to my rant.